of recently, I can talk about it now, but it was challenging in the beginning. I was going through like depression.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you said. I want you to finish.
Like a really, really, really bad depression, and it stemmed from childhood trauma.
Cool.
So upbringing, growing up, and I always felt sad, and like I was always sad. And I started to speak to somebody, and I was like, "You've got depression." Because how long have you always felt sad or whatever? And then I looked back, and I was like, I've actually always felt like this. Not to laugh.
No, it's not funny, not funny.
Like,
do you know what I mean?
I've actually always felt sad, and it's like, yeah, it's the depression. And as a man, and as we are, and whatever, you find it hard to talk about these things and say I feel sad or.
Me, you, and the driver, we gotta get this photo together. We gotta get this selfie.
Oh, open it. Have you got a bag? A bag for fucking what? We grocery shopping or something? We doubling up on these bags?
I was like, wow, women are incredible.
I've been out here every single weekend since I've been doing this, picking up people who have had amazing nights.
Hoffman, I'm sleeping. I'm staying here. Leave me alone.
I mean, I've always said this anyway, that this thing has killed me, but I can see I've aged. I look at my beard, mad grey hairs. It is mad.
What's happening, bro?
Not too bad, man. And yourself? You well?
I'm good, man. I'm good, you know. Just on the way to my. I've got a course. I'm doing a course at the moment, so doing digital marketing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Obviously, what I'm doing at the moment, I'm trying to learn how to market a bit better and things like that. So yeah.
Do you know what, that's good? Like, before I obviously pass you the pack of cards, like, I was gonna say something to you. Like, there's a couple of questions that I want to make sure I get off. That is it. Obviously, I've known your cousin for like borderline 30 years, all right? Yeah. And I always find it really interesting that like within that time, I've not really had like a proper conversation with yourself in regards to getting to know you. And I guess like within the rise that I have, like I'm getting to know loads of strangers like very well, or generally speaking quite well, over like a 20-30 minute period. Whereas I've known you for, let's say, just say 20 years or even 15 years or such. Yeah, there you go. And
about 13, 14 months already.
And there you go. And like, and the only type of conversation we've had probably in recent time is going back and forth via voice notes and stuff like that, which is the reason why I'm quite a massive advocate in regards to like having conversation with people. But like, I guess my first question before I pass you the pack of cards, as I mentioned before, is like, what has that viral moment like done for you? Done for you personally, but also your brand? And I also find it interesting that you actually go into a marketing event today.
Yeah. For me personally, it's giving me belief in myself and hope, and it's boosted my confidence. Because obviously, since the viral moment, I've gone out and started filming more content. Yeah. To where I'm socializing with people more now, and I'm like, how can I put? Yeah, it's grown my character a lot, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's grown my character a lot, definitely. And
like, this will probably be I thought this might be my last question actually, but this is also a massive thing for me as well. In that, like, someone asked me a question the other day as to like, they'd read part of my book, and they said to me like, when you were going through those challenging moments, what kept you going? And I kind of was a bit sad actually when I saw the question. And the reason why I was sad was because my answer to that person was that like, I just know where I'm going. So that's what makes me feel comfortable. But based on your experience as to that viral moment and us going back and forth in regards to the podcast and what you want to do, what would your advice be to someone who wants to start something?
Wants to start something, never give up, be consistent and never give up. And soon you get those hurdles, just keep pushing through those hurdles, because I came through a lot of hurdles, man, and I just kept going and going and going and going, and yeah, just never give up, man. Just never give up.
Cool. And like, in regards to the podcast, what do you think is next for the podcast? I mean, you might not have no idea, but at this moment in time, you were talking about being consistent is really, really important for you.
For the podcast, so I've got some other shows I want to start doing, incorporating into the podcast, away from the podcast as such, but it's going to be a part of the On The Bench brand. I can't really talk about it.
Cool, that's fine.
I don't want to nick my ideas.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting more guests on the show. Had a big guest on yesterday, some model kid, and he does like TikTok. He's really big on TikTok. So just getting more guests on, influencers, I want to incorporate musicians and football as well together. That's a little thing I want to do. Don't steal my idea. You
No,
heard it
no,
first.
no, I wouldn't do that. Okay, cool.
But yeah, and that's it, man. Just keep growing the brand, really. Merch, all those type of things, man. Just keep growing the brand and just keep pushing, man.
Cool. Well, from me to you anyway, I'm going to pass you the questions, and obviously I know. Anyway, I'm going to pass you the box anyway. You can open the questions and stuff like that. But generally speaking, very proud in terms of how you conducted yourself and how you've gone about things, because I think you speak to what I believe in, actually, as to, like, if you believe in something, you want to do something. Yes, to begin with, it's going to be very, very difficult, but you've got to be consistent. 100%. And like, as I was saying to your cousin, I was saying to him, I don't know if I told you this, but I said to him, it's not by chance you happen to come across Simon Squibb, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, for me, those things are not just, like, it just happened. Do you know what I mean? If you're working hard and you're trying to grind, like, good things and luck will happen for you. Thank you, we're lying.
I'll tell you the story quickly if you want. What you just said is spot on, because my day aligned so much for me to meet him. Like,
okay, cool.
So I'm a driver's mate at the moment, and the driver I'm normally with, he found in sick that day.
Cool.
And when he is at work, I would normally go and do another shop. So
cool.
He would stay there, and I'll take the pallet and I'll go around to the other shop.
Cool.
He randomly called in sick. Second thing, normally when my driver's not there, I think, I'm gonna get an agency driver.
Cool.
And I'm like, I don't want to work on that agency. I was kicking up so much fuss. I'm not going on this route, and I want to stay on cover. And then I said, you know what? Let me go. That's the second thing. Got to the shop. Obviously, the guy don't know what he's doing, so I've had to stay outside with the pallet now, just to make sure everything's running smooth. That's when, obviously, I've seen Simon, and then everything's, just panned out. So it just aligned. It's just aligned. And obviously, the energy I'm putting into the podcast, it brings you things, man. When you're doing the right stuff and you're on the right path, you just things just come to you. Like, the amount of people I've bumped into, you would think, what the hell's got, like, when I mean literally, like, I'll jump out to go to the shop here and bump into like some football creator, or it's just been mad, bro, man. But it's being on the right path brings you the right things, man.
Cool. Yeah. Well, crack open the box and let's get to the first question. Let's get to know JDan a little bit more, and actually myself as well.
Okay, cool. So what's an emotion you find challenging to express, and why?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
It's funny because, like, a lot has happened in my life over the past, say, 6 months. So, like, I lost my dad probably like 5-6 months ago. Yeah. And like, I've always believed that I'm very open. So I think I'm a very open person. I like to talk. Yeah, I like to talk. And I feel, I'm kind of babbling now, actually. I'm going to say love, but I'm going to say love towards my family and my friends. So I think we have, like, a really good relationship, like me and my family and my friends. But generally speaking, I don't think I'm open enough, or I don't think I tell them how much I care or appreciate them. So that's the one thing that I'd like to improve.
You find it hard to show love as such?
I think I do show love, but like, if like, so for example, in regards to your cousin, I know this, I don't want to say it's a man thing to do, yes or no, but like, I've never told none of my friends that I love them, for example, and I don't even know it's a thing that we do. Do you know what I'm saying?
I tell my friends that. Only of recently though, I was like, I love you, bro, because one of, like, someone I know passed away, and it's
cool.
Like, I think death brings you a realization that things ain't forever.
No, they're not forever. So that's the one thing I would say I'm struggling to do at this moment in time. So I think between me and my friends, I think we're quite open as to, like, talking about things that are really, really sensitive or really, really important to talk about at this moment in time. But I don't think I've shown them, probably we might all agree the same, actually. I don't think I've told my friends I love them in regards to how much I care for them. But likewise, even my family. Like, I sit there and I think to myself, like, my dad, my dad had 6 months to live, so we was told he had 6 months to live, probably like in April, May. Cheers. And then, like, obviously he passed in October, and in my mind, like, some of the things that I thought about as to him passing were, I'm not too sure me and him have had a conversation in regards to, or we've ever expressed, yo, Dad, I love you, or him saying the same thing to me. And I made it a thing that I said those things as he was getting closer to what be the day he passed. Do you know what I mean? So I would say, like, things like that have been things I've been thinking about maybe a little bit more, and even expressing the same thing towards my mum. I've got a massive amount of respect for mum, and like I would like to believe most people do, but like, I don't think I've really expressed how much I care about my mum, generally speaking, and I think that's important as we get older and they get older.
That's crazy, bro.
And yourself?
Mine, you know what? Of recently, I can talk about it now, but it was challenging in the beginning. I was going through that depression.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you said. I want you to finish.
Like a really, really, really bad depression, and it stemmed from childhood trauma.
Cool.
So upbringing, growing up, and I always felt sad and like I was always sad. And I started to speak to somebody, and I was like, "You've got depression." Because how long have you always felt sad or whatever? And then I looked back and I was like, I've actually always felt like this. Not to laugh.
No, it's not funny, not funny.
But like,
do you know what I mean?
I've actually always felt sad, and it's like, yeah, it's the depression. And as a man, and as we are, and whatever, not, you find it hard to talk about these things and say I feel sad, or there's times I didn't want to be alive. I'll be real with you. There's times I didn't want to be alive.
Well, we're glad you're here anyway.
And you find it hard. How do you express those things? It's challenging. That in itself is a big challenge to come to your brethren, how we grow up and whatnot, to say, bro, I don't want to be alive, you know, or bro, I feel sad, because the man never just tell you, what are you talking about, man? Day goes on, whatever, but you can't change how you feel. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control it, and you don't understand until you've kind of been through it, because until I actually knew why I felt like this way, if somebody said it to me, I wouldn't have understood. Like, you just be like, just get on with it, but you don't understand, bro. It's challenging, man.
First of all, again, I'm going to repeat that. I'm glad you're here, but and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because like only a couple of days ago, with my dad passing, I explained to the first few months, I don't want to say they were cool, but I was fine. Like, people were asking me, are you sleeping? I was like, yo, I'm sleeping like a baby, bro. Like, boom, gone.
Yeah.
And we didn't bury him until December back in Ghana.
Yeah.
And then when all that happened, a lot of emotion then began to I began to feel a lot of emotion. And I feel I'm back at what will be square one in regards to how I feel. And then I went to see some friends, I think it was on the weekend. And I went to see some friends on the weekend, and they were telling me about their problems. And funny enough, they were saying they're very glad that they've got like people like myself and my other friend who was there to be able to talk about these things, because they've not had many people around them in recent times to talk about how they feel in regards to being depressed. And I was unaware of some of the things that they were going through. And a massive proponent I am of, so something I'm a massive proponent of is like, I will voice note, I'll go on a massive long walk, like in the morning. I don't know if you've seen me before walking, but like
I think I've seen you.
I will voice note, probably I might voice note 5-10 man or people, it doesn't have to be man, like girls as well, as to how they are, etc., just catching up. Because I feel like on a day-to-day basis, we go by and we're just moving. We're just being moved by a current. Do you know what I mean? You don't really get an opportunity to talk to people and find out how people are doing and stuff like that. But like, I want to get to the point in some respect. So like, they're aware that my dad had passed, and like when I was at my friend's house, like he spoke about his problems, and another friend spoke about his problems, and then the following day, which was a Saturday, I had football. And when I'm at football, nothing bothers me. Nothing bothers me whatsoever. Nothing can like kind of like interfere with my thoughts, and until the game is done or until the session is done. And then when the session finished, all of a sudden this dark cloud kind of like came over me in regards to how I currently feel, and it made me think to myself like, yo, like I don't want to say knee deep, but I'm actually in a place where I'm actually quite depressed at the moment because of the passing of my father. And a lot of people have told me, someone messaged me and told me that they listened to the end chapter in my book about my dad and said that they're very, very proud of me in regards to what I went through and the things that I did, and that it won't be now, but it'll be like, say, 5-10 years time, you'll realize that you did a lot of good things for your dad, and actually you did him proud in terms of how you buried him in Ghana, which was one of his dying wishes. Do you know what I mean? But like, speaking to how I feel at this moment in time and what my friend said, he said that you need to sit down, and like, you can be as busy and try to put as many distractions in your way, but like, until you decide to sit down, you're not going to be able to grieve and actually feel this process properly. Do you know what I mean? Because grieving is about feeling, it's not really about...
You keep moving because you're constantly moving, you don't have time. And that's back to that point where you said, with me, is when I slowed down, that is when it hit me as well. Because my life was so fast paced, I was always outside around people and doing things, whatever. The moment I slowed down and had moments to myself now, that's when all of the sad moment and everything started to flash back to me, and the depression hits you, man. That's when it hit me.
Cool.
Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, we can move on to the next question. I'm in a good place if I'm honest, generally speaking, but I just know that like things take time, and actually I need to talk to people, and I'm not necessarily talking about a professional. I'm talking about speak to my friends, and if I need to speak to a professional, then speak with a professional. But generally speaking, I know things take time, and I just understand that.